When I was 17 years old, I was born again and baptized in the Holy Spirit with the evidence of speaking in tongues. It was in the living room of a house not far from here where I had gathered with other Brother Rice and Mary high school students. It was a home of some rogue Catholics who had become born again after attending a Billy Graham rally, then went to follow a group of prosperity and health and wealth preachers similar to those we see today with President Trump. And they opened the Bible to me in a new way and placed a special emphasis on the miracles of the Bible as proof of Christ's divinity and as a foundation for faith. And those miracles, they taught me, were still around today to prove that God was real. While aspects of piety and Bible knowledge were certainly important, the big spotlight, the evidence of your faith, was really seen in the size of the miracles, the frequency of the miracles, the drama of the testimony, and having powerful miracles present in your daily life. What I had felt 40 years ago in that cozy living room, sitting on a brown sectional couch, singing those praise songs, the words so lovingly magic markered on sheer cardboard, and among friends I still see today, was the presence of Jesus in my heart like never before. God used that group of kind, charitable people to help open my heart to the love and truth of the gospel, a love that I had felt in my heart since I was a child. And so I went on with my new brothers and sisters to attend something called camp meetings and miracle crusades, all the while learning more about Jesus, the Bible, and what this voice inside of me was trying to say. I remember going for a few years to something called a camp meeting, which was held annually at the Troy Hilton, where preachers mostly from the South would come north to preach. And oh, how they could preach. 45, 55, 1 hour, hour and a half sermons from these fiery preachers. You'd think I go on. And I remember one preacher, Kenneth Hagin Jr., telling us, such a rousing way, getting us up on our feet, that we were ambassadors for Christ, as St. Paul talks about in his letters. And then preaching the rapture and reminding us that when things go bad in a foreign country and it's time for expatriates to be evacuated, the first people that could be called home are the ambassadors. And after rousing orations like this, the crusade leaders would ask us to sing simple praise songs and create an atmosphere where we could speak in tongues as they called us up from the crowd, those who especially were ill, or people in wheelchairs, or people with crutches, to come forward and to be slain in the Spirit as the preacher laid hands on the foreheads of the faithful and healed them before they fell to the ground. As a high schooler, I experienced this myself as the presence of the Holy Spirit is so strong. I also saw people get up out of wheelchairs and discard their crutches. And to my spiritually hungry teenage soul, these were times of important formation, where my impressionable mind was being filled with all kinds of interesting thoughts of who God was and what God does. And I knew this God of miracles was saying something important. Then there was the time I suffered a stress fracture at that time in my life while running cross country. It was a race during my junior year at Brother Rice, and I had crutches, and I had a cast on my ankle for about a week when I attended this Bible study filled with these faith healers. And the people there said now was a chance to put our faith to work. And they spent more than a little time praying over me at that prayer meeting, praying in tongues with the laying on of hands. Everybody prayed over me that God would heal me and that my cast would miraculously come off. After that long prayer session, I didn't really feel anything different. But my friends said that was okay, because to quote a number of these preachers, we walk by faith, not by sight. Well, the next day, I happened to have a doctor's appointment. Impressed with the healing progress, it had been about 10 days or so since the break, the doctor did an x-ray. And it seemed like an eternity before he came back with the results. And I was sitting in the doctor's office, and the doctor said to me, "My, what progress." Then he uttered those magic words, "I think we can take your cast off." And I remember feeling such excitement and joy. And when I went to school later that day and showed my friends no crutches, no cast, one of them, a girl at Marion, who saw me from a distance without those crutches and nearly dropped her school books. Because she, like me, knew it was a testimony of God's healing power. Truth be told, my leg was not fully healed. The doctor told me I'd have to wait 6 or 8 weeks to run a race. In my heart, I knew I could not go on 60 Minutes or call the Journal of the American Medical Association and report a provable miracle that would be substantiated by all who would care to examine. And looking back today, it doesn't really matter. Because to me, the miracle was not getting a perfectly healed limb, but it was a sign of God's presence with me. It was an unforgettable moment in time when God said, "See, I am real. I am here." This series of events has been orchestrated to wake you up and to show you that I am real, and I want to use you to do some of my work in the world. Now, friends, you may have a story like that in your life. A time when circumstances lined up in such a way that you knew God was there. You had to pause and wonder and perhaps give thanks. And maybe like me, you sensed that God was calling you deeper. In today's gospel, you and I open up that incredible book of John. If we were to read it together, which we could do right now, it might take us about 45 minutes. But what we would see is that in John, he's very specific about miracles. He has just 7 of them. And he doesn't call them miracles as much as he calls them signs. Signs. The first, as we know, is the making of water into wine. That's wine for water at Cana. And on John will go through these 7 signs about the healing of a royal official's son, a paralytic in Bethesda, of Jesus walking on water, and even raising Lazarus from the dead, the last sign before Jesus himself will be raised. These miracles, these signs. Well, these 12 days of Christmas are a season of signs. We hear of the miraculous birth and impressive impregnation, angelic appearances, divine dreams. And if you're like my teenage self, you might look to these miracles as ultimate proof of God's presence with us. We have people who do that, who say God is real, see, because of these miracles. You might put a lot of stock into the truth of the Christian story because the Bible shows us these miracles. However, as you and I grow in the knowledge and love of Jesus, we begin to realize that miracles are vastly overrated as a basis for faith. After all, ever notice that Jesus' own disciples, who apparently had been first-hand witnesses to dozens and dozens of miracles, all abandoned him and his hour of greatest need? We see the thousands of people who were miraculously fed after the multiplication of loaves and fishes, the only miracle in the Bible that's in all 4 Gospels. And those people didn't stick around very long. And we know that Jesus himself refused to perform miracles on demand when people walked up to him and asked him to prove himself. If these kinds of miracles are what we're supposed to base our faith on and to replicate ourselves today, why was Jesus so stingy? And while miracles are overrated then, what we find as underrated are the ways you and I cultivate, the ways that God speaks to us in our hearts, the ways you and I are being called to develop that seed of faith that is inside of us. My main point today, and something I hope we walk away with, is the idea that that seed of faith that is present in each one of us is longing for development. And that our best lives lie in nurturing the faith that is in us. And that you would join me in dedicating the year 2020 to drawing closer to Jesus. Why? Because drawing closer to Jesus is the one thing we can do, such that by doing it, everything else in our lives will be easier or unnecessary. The one thing we can do, drawing closer to Jesus, restaurant earlier this month, earlier in December, busy month for clergy. I was meeting somebody who would be a good contact, a good community contact for the work we do in the community. Never had lunch with her, took a while to get the dates arranged. Finally, busy December, I make it to the restaurant, and I'm by myself, the restaurant's packed, I put my name in with the hostess, start checking my phone while I'm waiting, and sure enough, just a few minutes ago, that person emailed me, saying, oh, I'm not going to make it. Oh, why don't we reschedule sometime? I'm off to Europe tomorrow, maybe sometime next year. Now, I don't know how quickly you get over people like this, but it takes me a while. What's going to help me get over that quicker? My rootedness in the Word, in the community of faith, in the devotion to Jesus, that won't let me mire in unforgiveness for as long as I might otherwise do. In other words, drawing closer to Jesus will make me more forgiving faster. Like many of you, I'm really excited about the coming year. We talked about it at the beginning of our service here at church. We're looking forward to refurbishing our restrooms, our kitchen, our parish hall, our HVAC system. For those of us who work here, we just can't wait. These are events to plan, and there are events to plan in these new spaces, ministry to be done, people to help, but it's taken so doggone long. I didn't say doggone. It's taken so doggone long. Wake up somehow. And I'm tempted to lose patience. What's going to help me be more patient? What's going to help me bracket that expectation in healthy ways? Realizing that these things will happen in God's time, not my own. Drawing closer to Jesus will help me be more patient with people, with situations I just can't change. Went to the doctors the other day. A woman taking my blood said she was working part-time in the clinic because her mother was in very bad state. She was dying, and she was spending every other moment this person drawing my blood care for her mother. She said the prognosis was not good. She said she had to put everything else to be around mom to take care of her because she was the only one really who could do that. Here was a young woman devoting her really good years in her 20s, a couple of her good years, to a job that she didn't want. She couldn't leave. Ever been in a situation that you don't want? You can't leave. Who gives us strength to gut out those really difficult jobs? How do we find hope when we find ourselves in places we don't want and can't leave? Drawing closer to Jesus helps us be more faithful to the calling we have to fulfill in our lives, no matter how unenjoyable it may be. So 3 reasons I think it's really important for us to draw more from our faith, to develop more spiritually in the year ahead. Friends, it's a miraculous time in the year ahead. Who knows what it will bring? But let us understand that the real magic of the manger, the real magic here, is not so much the power of this incarnation in miraculous ways, but it's the power that we have. We heard that word power in our gospel. The word power is thrown around a lot of different ways in our political sphere and elsewhere. But we Christians draw power from the gospel when we realize we have power to be patient, when we have power to forgive, when we have power to cut through situations we don't want to be in. And so my prayer for